Hey y'all, I'm Zach, the Gulf Coast gardener. I garden here in Zone 9A, Mobile, Alabama, and today I want to share a story with you guys. As most gardeners are, I am in a Facebook plant group. Being in these multiple groups, the group we're talking about today is the Lower Alabama Gardeners. I noticed a particular person posting the most beautiful photos of roses, of vegetables, of conifers. Her name was Sing, and I said, wow, this person is pretty cool. I admired her post for maybe a year and a half or so before I reached out earlier this month. When I first reached out to Sing, you could tell she was a little timid. She was like, who is this stranger messaging me about plants? Is this a scam? Is this safe? But once the plant knowledge started flowing between us, within minutes we were texting rapid fire for over 2 hours. We ended up deciding to meet at the Mobile Botanical Plant Sale to get to know each other, to be gardening friends. I offered to bring her some seedlings of the Chinese asters that we all had started from seed, and she was very thankful for those. So the story leads up to last week. She messaged me and she said, thank you so much for those seedlings, and I want to return the favor. I would like to give you a lotus. And I said, a lotus? She said, yes, a lotus. And I was like, I've always wanted a lotus. Me and my husband were just talking about a lotus and how beautiful they are. They symbolize purity and loyalty. They're edible. They're timeless. They're beautiful. So I went over to her house and we did a little mini garden tour at her house. I did not film that because, it's my first time being at her house. It was completely inappropriate, but beautiful garden. Sing is 100% a rosarian. So she has so many roses and so much rose knowledge that she was giving to me. We even talked about grafting roses and using rootstock roses, all these great things. And then she gave me tips over how to plant a lotus flower, and I would like to share those tips with you guys now. Here is our lotus. Something interesting she told me about lotus is that you don't plant them in the center of the pot, you plant them on the side of the pot. And the reason is because their roots circle. She is nice and damp. I've been keeping her wet in this little bag for the past 2 days. But you can see our growth point here, a growth point here, and a growth point here. Also, there's a few growth points right here. This is the nice fleshy rhizome tuber, and it's gonna lay flat. And you want about 6 to 8 inches of water above it, and then clay topsoil below it. And then I'm gonna top dress with just a little bit of pebbles to keep the water nice and clear. I just ran over to Ace Hardware and picked up some topsoil. So let me go grab you the pot that we're gonna be using. It is important that it is a non-draining container because these like to live in water. Which will also be really fun, and I'll take you guys along for it, is we're gonna go pick up a fish to go into the lotus pond. Now, I did not tell you what type of lotus this is. This here is the Charming Lips lotus. Such a beautiful flower. It is a modern cultivar, so it is not a naturally occurring hybrid. It has been selected by nurserymen via cross-pollination and breeding techniques. It's cherished for its full peony bloom with a gradient colors of pink to cream. So it's going to start off as a full cup that it's nice and pink, and as it opens and ages, it'll fade to a white but still maintain the pink tips, giving it the name Charming Lips. Now, all lotus flowers want full sun, as much sun as you can get it. So if we think about the water, think about where these plants grow. There's not trees, there's not competition. It's nothing but sky and water. So that's what they want. So I'm gonna go put it in my front garden border where it'll get the most sun possible. All right, guys, let me go ahead and go get the pot and materials ready, and we'll get this potted up. All right, so here we are with our non-draining container. No holes in this. This was a gift from my brother Jake a few years ago for Christmas. I'm going to fill it up with this topsoil here. I wasn't sure how much I needed, so I went ahead and bought 2 bags. Oh wow, this topsoil is actually pretty good stuff. It might be all floaty. Definitely feels sandy though. Looking into our pot, you can see I have left a good 8 inches here. So now, taking our lotus flower, we want to lay it against the rim of the pot. And now we're just gonna fill it up with a little bit of soil. And now we'll top dress. Not sure what this peat moss is in here. All right, now let's fill it up with water. A good tip when you're filling something up with water that has sand or dirt in it is to use a piece of plastic to kind of disperse the force of the water so that you don't displace and muddy up the water. We're gonna fill this all the way up. And I'll just come back and scoop up any floaties that come. Ace has done a pretty good job with their branded topsoil, and it does have composted material in there, which isn't particularly what I was looking for this lotus flower, but in any other application, I'd be very happy with it. I didn't think about this. I'm gonna have to move this afterwards. It's gonna be heavy. Well, there we go. Charming Lips is planted up on her little pedestal in as much sun as I can give her. I hope she enjoys. Y'all, before we wrap up this video, I do want to go ahead and show you the front garden because it's in full spring bloom at the moment. Quick update on our red tip Photonia. You can see she is in full bloom. And those flowers are beautiful. They're fragrant. You can see the interesting bloom shape. It's a huge, beautiful, mature specimen. So this is us here in the front garden border. Miss Chibi Moon decided to come along for the walk. But the cobalt verbena is blooming. This overwintered. This was planted in March of last year. The peach, Mesa Peach Gaillardia looks great. Our dwarf pink snapdragons. Our ranunculuses are starting to blow. More snaps. The anemones are looking so beautiful today. They open even more as the sun gets open. You can see right there the snaps and the Dusty Miller. Not seeing any of my freesia come up yet. Our beautiful osteospermum that we planted. And I'd like to give you an update on our juiced orange jessamine. You can see there's a little wallflower there blooming. Here is the juiced orange jessamine. The first time it's ever fully bloomed for me. That light frost that we got did not affect it. What an interesting flower. People do report fragrance for this unique flower, and they say that hummingbirds enjoy it. I cannot agree to either one of those statements. I have no smell to it. If anything, it's a little off-putting of a smell, and I have never seen a hummingbird on it. Nevertheless, it's an evergreen shrub with beautiful flowers, so I'm a fan. The daffodils are all coming into full bloom, as well as the Rosa's Dwarf blueberry. Love blueberries as ornamentals. So Rosa's Dwarf stays much tinier than your typical blueberry, and it has smaller flowers and smaller fruit. But if you look, you can see it's called Rosa's Blush because of the different colors it gets on the new growth. You can see pinks and purples, and then it ages to that nice silvery color. I had planted two, one here and one on the other side. The one on the other side did not do as good. It did have some summer stress and died halfway back, but it is pushing new growth. So you can see here, her blush is even more obvious, but this is her dieback here. And then come May, I'll cut it back right to about here. This is a native blooming. This is lyre-leaf sage. A few years ago, my entire lawn was made of this, and not knowing what I was doing, I put down a pre-emergent and killed most of them. So I'm gonna wait for them to naturalize in my entire front lawn because I loved that look. You can see there's probably a handful of them, but nothing like it was a few years ago. These daffodils are still doing beautifully. I'm probably gonna come through and cut a few today for my mother who's visiting from Arkansas. You like the daffodils, Chibi? I love this dog. Such a pretty girl. You can see our newly planted roses are flushing out beautifully. These are the Bosco bells. Well, you guys, thanks for dropping by the garden today. I'm so happy to have gotten this lotus planted and in my garden. I can't wait to bring you along to see it bloom. I do want to go ahead and let you know a little bit about the aftercare of the lotus. So you don't want to fertilize this plant until it has standing leaves. So I can expect a few floating leaves as it establishes itself. But when the leaves start to stand above the water is when I'll apply the in-ground pond fertilizer. That's a little tab you stick into the dirt. So not yet, don't fertilize it yet. Not like you do with your annuals and your perennials and your shrubs. When you plant, you fertilize it once it has that standing leaf. But anyways, thank you so much guys for dropping by the garden today. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Talk to you all soon. Bye.